often this is where I see my clients get a little stuck or a little wobbly, because then they're just wrestling with whether they should follow it or not, whether they should listen to it or trust it. And then they're almost feeling bad about themselves that they can't just trust it right away. But it's like, confirm it. And what do I mean by that? I mean, ask for another sign. Often, one of my signs that I'm supposed to do something or that something is for me is that it actually comes up multiple times, like again and again and again. Hey, welcome back to the show. I'm super excited for today's episode. Before I dive in, I have to say I'm blown away that listeners like you have made this a top 25% global podcast. As a way to give back and provide insane value for free, I'd like to invite you to take my Money Wounds quiz. In just 6 questions, you'll get insights into your relationship with money that will feel so accurate. And then you get access to my free masterclass on how to heal your money wounds. Just go to moneywoundsquiz.com to start. Hello and welcome back to the show. We have a lot to cover, so I'm going to jump right in. I'm going to be sharing June celebrations and stretches. And when I look at the month and kind of what theme is there, there's a theme of really trusting my inner guidance. So I'm also going to share with you my 4-step process, 4 steps to trusting your inner guidance. So stay tuned and I will share that at the end. Okay, let's jump right into celebrations. I created and posted my first ever video that I made specifically for the YouTube channel. And I just want to note that, mark it down and celebrate it, because when I was in Egypt, I felt the really clear guidance to focus more on YouTube. And although I've been present on YouTube, maybe some of you even watch this podcast on YouTube over the last couple of years, we've never really done anything to focus on YouTube SEO. I've never created any content specific to the channel. And so felt really exciting to have my first piece of content that was specifically for that channel. And it's really good. I brag. It's about shifting very quickly from scarcity mindset to abundance mindset. So I will drop a link below in the show notes as well, in case any of you want to check it out. I also want to share, this was something that my former mentor, Melanie Ann Layer, suggested, which was like around my birthday every year, taking a snapshot, just like some stats around where my business is at so that I could review them every year. And of course, I forgot that I did it. So I have the stats from May 2022, and then I just remembered it at the end of June, literally on June 30th. So it's not exact apples to apples, but close enough. And I want to share and just celebrate, because it's kind of like with kids where, you know, that saying that the days are long, but the years are short. I sort of feel that way with business growth. Like when you're in it, it doesn't feel like there's a ton of growth happening because you're getting used to the numbers, you're getting used to a certain amount of people tuning into your stuff or buying your things or whatever. And so it just, even though there are incremental changes, you don't feel them. And then when you look back over a year, it's like, oh, okay, actually that was pretty significant. So last year I had 1,850 Instagram followers. Now I have 2,510. Last year, I had 7,591 all-time downloads on the podcast. Now I've had 16,723. Facebook, interestingly, my Facebook followers did not grow much year over year. YouTube, last year I had 121 subscribers. Now I have 437. Last year, I had put the Money Wound Masterclasses, day 1, day 2 on YouTube. And so at this time last year, they had about 77 views each. And this year, they now have 1,686 and 1,082. Last year, I had 41 people in Money Wound Medicine. Now I have 117. And last year, I had 137 total transactions in my coaching business. I think that's lifetime, not like in 1 year. So lifetime transactions. And now I've had 398 lifetime transactions. That's just in Simplero. now I also am using Stripe because I've launched the memberships. So it probably would be, I don't know, maybe 50 additional transactions on top of that. So that was super fun to witness. And I will say it's also a really good exercise because when I look at what channel was the most exponential, it was YouTube. And here I am feeling drawn to focus more on YouTube. So if you're in business, I highly recommend doing this. Just screenshot. Well, it's not exactly a screenshot, but write down all your stats right now so that you can look back on them a year from now and really see very tangibly how much your business is growing. Okay, so that was exciting. I also want to celebrate. I had a really successful fruition retreat. It was the first retreat that I've ever done here at the house, which feels like such a dream come true to have such a beautiful home space that I feel so proud to welcome clients into. And one of my old mentors, Amber Liliestrom, she used to run a mastermind where she would include retreats. And we several times went to her house. She lives on a beautiful lake in New Hampshire. And there was just something so sweet and so intimate about being in her home space. And so it felt really fun to do that for my clients. And it was a different kind of retreat than I've run in the past, where it was a little shorter and it was not as structured. It felt so good to just be in connection and be in sisterhood and trust that the feminine energy is enough. We don't have to do so many things in order to make the transformation happen. So that was wonderful. I successfully launched my memberships in June. Oh my gosh, I can't believe that it's only been a month, but I launched Wealthy and Woo Club and Wealthy Soulpreneur Society, and so many of you said yes and jumped in and have been having really beautiful breakthroughs and shares, and I've gotten to know you through Heartseek coaching. So that feels just tremendous. I can't celebrate it enough. Oh my gosh, talk about collapsing time, you guys. My June, every single line item is something that I could just go on and on and on and on about. Egypt being one of them. Oh my gosh, Egypt. Oh, I'm so grateful for Egypt and that trip and the medicine and the alchemy and the remembrance and the way that it's integrating into my body and into my life. It's just absolutely tremendous. We also had really fun end of school celebrations. Both of my kiddos, JJ finishing preschool. That is a celebration in and of itself. No more $1,000 a month payments for preschool. He gets to start kindergarten in the fall at phase school. And this is just a really exciting milestone for our family. And I'm so freaking proud of our kids, man. They are just really great little humans. Okay. Also, I've mentioned that I'm starting a social media agency called Flowshal. And so the posts that were created by the Flowshal team for me started going live and being published across my social media channels in June. So that is a massive celebration because there were months of preparation and work and choosing behind the scenes to even birth this project into reality. And so then to see it being posted on my channels and for me to be able to feel the support of that and see that vision come to life is tremendous. I also welcomed in our first Flowshal paid beta client. So that is an exciting milestone for that company. I had 2 more clients reach out to me for Flowshal. So I've really not done any promotion, but it just tells me what a need there is. And, so many people want support with their social media. And yet, if you've tried before, you know how difficult it is. It can be a nightmare to just outsource it. And sometimes it feels like more work than it's worth to try to get someone else on board with your creative vision. So the process at Flowshal is so unique because we use your voice and we use your content, but we do it in a way where you only have to spend 30 minutes a month in a very effortless way, helping us get your genius out of your head and onto the quote unquote paper. So that felt really exciting as well. And I will say that in June, I've just felt really different in a good way. And Abraham Hicks says that feeling different is our first sign that everything we want is on our way to us. And so rather than looking for the external evidence, the internal evidence is what's there and present first. And I really feel that so profoundly. I feel like I'm in the middle of a quantum leap. And my first evidence is just noticing that I feel different and I'm just thinking differently. And I'm drawn to different things and different ideas. And it can be very difficult to wrap words around that because no one else knows exactly what it feels like to be me and inside of my body. But I do. And I can tell you that it's good, different. And it really feels like the profoundness of the San Diego journey, the San Diego retreat that I was on, in combination with Egypt, in combination with this new era that we've entered into astrologically, that it's really so much has changed from the inside out, and that our being really is enough and different. And of course, it will influence a new way of doing. But it's so fun that it's really started with this feminine energy being and receiving and surrendering and trusting, which leads me to the San Diego retreat. That was just pure magic. And I am in awe of the incredible spiritual experiences that I've been able to have and been witness to and participated in. Like, one aspect of this retreat is that Yeshua, as channeled through Carissa, led us to a spiritual baptism in the Pacific Ocean, all holding hands at Swami's beach. And the Swami of Swami's beach is Paramahansa Yogananda, who has been my spiritual guru and teacher for many, many years, probably close to 20 years. And just the interconnectedness of truth in its purest form, and one great avatar having so much love and respect for another. Gosh, it could bring me to tears because it's just so special. It's so special. And it also reminded me of being in India and taking the dip in the Ganges, and how holy that was, and how cleansed I felt, and how it felt like a spiritual baptism. And so to get to do that again is a different version of me under the guidance of a different God-realized avatar. Like, it just is so profound. And I feel so humbled and so loved and so cared for and so blessed to be able to have those experiences, and privileged, like the privilege of having the financial resources to do those kinds of things and to say yes and sign up and experience that. It's not lost on me. And I feel like part of my soul mission is then to embody those changes and embody those transformations and be the ripple effect and spread them to others. Also, I hadn't looked at a certain tab of a money tracker that I use in a while. And when I looked at it, I realized that some time ago, we crossed 7 million in lifetime revenue. So that's across 3 different businesses. So the e-commerce business, the agency, and my coaching business, lifetime. So, wow, $7 million generated across 3 businesses. So wild, so grateful. Okay, let me move on to stretches. Honestly, June did not feel challenging, which is so fascinating, because for many, after Egypt, I've talked to so many of my Egypt sisters, and they went through a lot of challenges and struggles and restructuring coming back from Egypt. And I didn't. My reintegration felt so effortless, and I felt so supported. I would say like one minor stretch was just doing 2 retreats in such close proximity and just really allowing myself to do that, and being able to receive that level of support from Jeff. Like, Jeff was supportive all along, and Jeff thrived and the kids thrived, and it was navigated so gracefully. He never made me feel bad or feel guilty, and was in full support of everything that I was doing. And it was just a next level receiving of that for me. And there were definitely some moments in San Diego where I just was, feeling a little bad about being away from the kiddos. primarily, but mostly it felt really good and it was stretchy in a good way. I did feel like I need more support in June. That's becoming evident, like between Flowshul and my business. I really am looking for just next level, my like unicorn ride or die kind of behind the scenes superstars to help me with those businesses. So stay tuned. I may be sharing some job posts soon, but that's definitely something that's on my list. And I don't think I did the greatest job from a sales perspective in June. I felt a bit spread thin with so many things to promote because I was launching Wealthy and Woo Club. I was launching Wealthy Soulpreneur Society. And then also Fruition doors were open. And Fruition is like my favorite container of all time. It is so incredible. It is so transformational. And I don't feel like I did it justice. I didn't really do like a full launch for Fruition because just had a lot. I had a lot going on and I wasn't working all that much, right? Because I was on retreat. And then like after the San Diego retreat, my family and I went straight up to the Sierras and had some time in the mountains with another family and just kind of like more of a camping vibe. There was no cell phone service up there. And so I don't want to feel bad about that. I actually feel really great about June, but I always want to be transparent and share anything that was a challenge. And I wouldn't necessarily recommend trying to sell 5 things at the same time when you're not really wanting to show up and post and work as much as normal. So let's share the numbers and then I will share my 4 steps for trusting your inner guidance. So the agency collected $60,857 in June. Actually, I have a feeling that number is higher. I was looking at unreconciled numbers. So whatever, doesn't matter. Coaching business collected $16,616. Oh my gosh, I'm just looking at that. 16616. That's so wild. Anyway. And then the total was $473 cash collected in June. So 4 steps to trust your inner guidance. Step number 1 is to feel it. And that may sound really obvious. And yet there's a whole journey that can happen to getting back in touch with your inner guidance. Because for many of us, we've dissociated, we've ignored, we've silenced it, we've given more voice to external factors, or we've learned to operate from the head instead of from the body. So really starting to feel, starting to notice, and starting to learn what feels like your true inner guidance. And human design can be really helpful for that. We're doing a training actually next week inside of Wealthy and Woo and Wealthy Soulpreneur Society, where I'm bringing in a human design expert, a former client of mine, who's going to talk about using human design to really tap into your own intuition. So if you've been wanting to join, now would be a great time. So feeling it, that's the first step. But often when we feel it, we can still feel scared to trust it or still feel a little wobbly. Like, I don't know, is it my intuition? Is it something else? And we start to question and we get back into the mind. So step number 2 is confirm it. And often this is where I see my clients get a little stuck or a little wobbly, because then they're just wrestling with whether they should follow it or not, whether they should listen to it or trust it. And then they're almost feeling bad about themselves that they can't just trust it right away. But it's like, confirm it. And what do I mean by that? I mean, ask for another sign. Often, one of my signs that I'm supposed to do something or that something is for me is that it actually comes up multiple times, like again and again and again. Now, I don't wait for it to come up like 50 times, but if it comes up like 2 or 3 times where I hadn't heard about something or known about it or paid any attention to it, and all of a sudden it's like boom, 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 that is one of the ways that I confirm my inner guidance. And I know that something is meant for me and I'm meant to take action on it. So you can ask for a sign. You can ask for something super specific. Like if I see a red robin, then I know I'm meant to do this. Or you can just say, universe, I really want to trust you. I really want to listen. Could you show me a sign? And I'll know I'll know when I see that sign. Like I'll know what it is and I know what it's meant for. And often that's true for me. It's like not like I'm asking for something super specific, but I'll then see angel numbers or just like something will happen that to anyone else they wouldn't even notice it. But to me, I know, and I can feel that was my confirmation. Step number 3 is trust it. Be willing to trust that you are in a co-creative relationship with your inner guidance, with your higher self, with soul, with source, and that it's trustworthy and that you can follow it and that there is a bigger plan at play and you're just being given the breadcrumb trail. So you can only see the next little thing that you're supposed to do, but trusting that it's part of something bigger and that it's really being orchestrated on your behalf. And then step number 4 is follow it. You got to take the action associated with it. And often when you don't, you will get what I call the 2x4. So I say that the universe first speaks in a whisper, then a regular voice, then a shout, then you get the 2x4 upside your head. If you live outside the US, maybe the 2x4 doesn't make any sense, but it's like a lumber term, 2 inches by 4 inches, but it's this big piece of wood hitting you upside the head. I don't want to wait for the 2x4 because that is often like a health crisis or someone on your team quitting, like something that seems way more dramatic to get you to notice and to get back in alignment with your inner guidance. So step number 4 is follow it. And I really recommend following it when it's still just like a whisper or a regular voice and like really being more in tune with it. And again, once you're in that trust, it's taking that action. So the reason it comes up for me around June, and I wanted to share this, is because I had committed to the June San Diego retreat a long time ago. That had been on the books and on the calendar. And when I started feeling that I was meant to go to Egypt, again, first it was feeling it. Then I started getting the confirmations. All of a sudden, Egypt is showing up everywhere. It's showing up in my news feed. People are talking about it. Like it's everywhere. And so I got the confirmation. And then it was trusting it. And when I started looking into Egypt retreats, I kept feeling a no around ones that were happening earlier in 2023. And it really felt like I was supposed to go around my birthday. And what that meant was that it was going to be like 2 back-to-back retreats. Now, my human, I wouldn't have scheduled it that way, but I had to trust that there was a bigger plan that I was just tuning into and that I really was meant to be in Egypt at that time and then come home for just like a week and a half and then be on another retreat with Yeshua. And when I was willing to trust and surrender and then follow it, right? I said no to other Egypt tours that were earlier in the year. And I kept looking until I found the one that was the right leader, the right timing, and all of those things. And I took action. I signed up, I paid the money, and I did it. And because of that, so much magic is unfolding in my life. So 4 steps to trust your inner guidance. Step number 1, feel it. Step number 2, confirm it. Step number 3, trust it. And step number 4, follow it. So I hope that has served you well. Thank you so much for tuning into the show. I'll make sure that everything is linked in the show notes. So if you want to join the Wealthy and Woo Club, the link is there. We will link up the simple and effective tool from scarcity mindset to abundance mindset that I recorded for YouTube. So feel free to tune into that as well. Thank you so much for being here, and I will talk to you soon. You are the best. Thank you so much for listening today. When you subscribe, review, and share this show, it's an important and free way to show your support. I'd also love to stay connected on Instagram. You can follow me at nmakesmoney. And if you're curious about working together, head to explore.emilywilcox.com to learn more. Until next time, I'm sending you all the magic money vibes.